He is going to get a second factory. Okay, I was going to say, you know, sometimes when we see command center first, generally speaking, I think most people would agree you are expecting bio. You know, and is it going to be that 2-base all in, or is it going to be a 3rd base? But here we go. He went command center first straight into a second factory. This is going to be a very quick 3rd base, and from what I can tell, I think that the Zerg is going to have to be defending a lot.
Wondering how much potential is actually going to be in just 2 factory aggression here coming out from Gumiho as he now powers up 3 more factories.
Oh my God.
Is this going to be
fully
make so
battle
many
cyclones?
This might just be full battle mech.
All the cyclones are going to come together like a giant Power Ranger and morph into one big cyclone. Yeah, this is really cool to see. You know, it's so funny because when you watch Gumiho play, it's like, yeah, nobody really plays like this. I don't know how exactly you would prepare.
Gotta say, nice control there by Gumiho. Being able to evac from that, and once again, 4th base getting denied from soO. 12 Mutalisks in production, but let's keep in mind the Cyclone, the new Cyclone as it is, a lot better at dealing with Mutalisks than it once was.
Yeah, that is very true. It's much better at just addressing air. I think these mutas have to get a win here, State. Otherwise, I don't know that there's going to be a road to recovery here from soO. soO is attempting to reclaim the 4th base up at the top of the map here. But I think it's just going to be a matter of time before we see Gumiho roam right back up there and start to deal with that once more.
Yeah, soO's double expanding over here on the top side, but this hatchery going to get taken out. Actually, not even a cancel. Supplies remain relatively even. Actually, funny to see a barracks going through the speed zone right there. All right.
That's so funny. It looks like the Zerglings are going to fragment the Terran army with the Hellions on one side and the Cyclones over here in the back, but I think those Cyclones that are retreating, yeah, can merge right up with the ones that are happening right here. We're seeing it happen in real time. And
yeah,
I do think that Gumiho can seesaw right back over onto the other side of the map.
And this is a really interesting thing we're seeing out of Gumiho right now. If you think back against Mutalisks in almost every ZBT up until this point, in a normal macro game with a Terran going mech against Mutaswitch, you're pumping out Thors at this point. You're throwing down missile turrets. You're trying to just hunker down the defense on your bases. Gumiho, he sees the mutas, and he immediately starts 7 Cyclones of production at once. And you can see why. They're trading quite well right here with the mutas. I think soO might have misread this engagement.
Oh my God, the moving shot is painful to see.
It goes up to like 9 range, I think.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, you can really see that like this is one of these circumstances where when you engage with the mutas, you have to know you're going to actually win the fight.
And these are Cyclones without their speed movement upgrade too. So just wait until that kicks in. Wait until they get the Hurricane Thrusters, Blue Flame also being researched. Sensor towers coming down. I'm not seeing an avenue for soO to find damage on Gumiho's side of the map because of the missile turrets, because of the Thors that are starting to get incremented out.
And we're almost to the point where both sides are going to max out.
Yeah, we're going to max out pretty soon here for soO. There's 21 Larva just deciding exactly how he wants to spend it at 180 supply. Hellion run by going to come in. Not going to find too much damage. soO just on top of the defense, and I got to give credit to soO. We've been focusing a lot on Gumiho because this is really the first debut of this new battle mech style in the patch, but soO on his side of the map hasn't really suffered too much damage. No, he's keeping pace with Gumiho quite well. Just my big concern is when these armies inevitably do clash, Thor gets some pretty big hits on the mutas.
Yeah. So they're going to have to back off. They can't engage for a little bit now.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned for soO's position because I feel like unless he's able to get a big surround of these Cyclones on creep, he's not really going to be able to get too much done. And Gumiho can just kind of play this slow defensive style. I wouldn't even be surprised if, as he takes a 4th base and eventually a 5th base, he starts to warp in, or not warp in, I'm a Protoss player, starts to make some barracks for Ghosts as well to start complementing this mech, because the setup that he has right now, it's going to be a pretty immaculate defensive setup. You know, he is losing some missile turrets, he is losing some SCVs, but there isn't really any kill potential for soO right now.
Yeah, I think soO can basically buy time. By the way, Hive is just now coming along. soO can try to buy time by using the Mutalisks as a distraction, but eventually it's going to be the Terran's turn to move out on the map, and I think we might be at that moment right now here. The Banes are going to come through here. You can see, honestly, the Banes are not getting anywhere near as many connections as they need. In fact, the Thor very nicely soaks up a lot of that Baneling damage and doesn't even get killed off. And so this is probably the climax of the game. We're having this army push out. We had a lot of banelings that were killed. The Terran army is in a much better position now where there's terrain that kind of blocks a lot of this off. So soO has to smash this army in a very convincing fashion, or there's a chance that Gumiho's push just closes it out.
I'm worried these trades for soO are not going to be enough. His gas bank very low right now. He's going to more banelings because he knows that he has to hold this push right in this moment. Now that's a pretty good connection on 3 Thors all at once. But this arc down the low ground here for Gumiho, I'm liking it a lot. More baneling connections on the top side, but the Thors are just eating through the mutas.
Oh my god, the Queens, it's creating a log jam here where the Banes can't quite get through. It looks like it's a bit of a trade here, but you can see the Cyclones, they can spread out and really consume a lot of the baneling damage. So, you know, as the dust settles, Terran is fought off. Zerg is immediately refilling their supply with Zerglings and Mutalisks. Back at home, it's the same story for the Terran. The same units that we saw earlier just going to be remade out of that factory.
And right now, the worker supplies are completely equal, 76 to 76. So with mules, once Gumiho saturates all these bases, he should have the superior economy. And that's a really scary position for soO, because I think there is no way he's going to be able to take more cost-efficient fights. Now that the creep spread past the triangle third's been almost completely cleaned up, we would have some medevacs coming out from Gumiho so we can do more advanced micro with these Thors. Unfortunately, one of them does get caught out. In fact, 2 of them, but still the army here for Gumiho. I mean, the baneling connections are really not getting anything done.
If I could go super big picture here, it seems to me like even though soO fought off Gumiho really well in the first game, all the gas was spent. We had an insane amount of banelings made. All the mutas were killed. And what's going to happen, I think, in the next fight, if not this one, the one after that, is that there's just not going to be enough gas to have that overpowered amount of banelings. And so I think, if my theory is right, basically this trades out over time better for the Terran. And we're starting to see that now. There's no Banes in the picture. The mutas are being wiped out. The micro here from the Thors is insane, by the way. GG, Gumiho takes that game. So Roach Warren being thrown down. And I wonder if when you see a third command center that early, you just know as beefy as Roaches are, there's probably a way you could just crank out a couple of Roaches and just never let them land that third CC. Yeah. Now, the Roaches are going to come across the map. You can do this versus Bio, though. You can make Roaches and Ravagers and bully a Bio player who is a little bit too ambitious with that. The Viking flies over and sees it.
And this is the first real scout Gumiho's had of this push coming in. I don't know if he has the setup ready for this. He's going to start building some Cyclones now, but it's going to be a while before they're out. Roaches and Ravagers already attacking the SCVs. I love the whole position micro right now for Gumiho, just trying to get every single ounce of defense he can. He's going to try and hold the top of the ramp, but that's a lot of Ravagers, Tasteless.
Yeah, normally you'd have a Banshee or something like that that could eventually beat this over time, but I think that Gumiho's probably dead. There's just nothing that can actually stop the wave of Zerg units here. And I'll chalk a lot of this up to that really good scout. Oh, but Cyclones are out. Hold on. All bets are off, State.
He's going to hold it now, Tasteless. Gumiho. No way.
So this is a pretty smart move because a lot of times when you're microing the Reaper, you might not even be seeing the Lings come up here. If you could kill the Marine and even get into the main, that would be huge. Killing the SCV that's producing there is also a great way to play. The SCVs come up, the Marine is trying to maneuver around.
Whoa!
Actually insane control. Oh, but the Julie, he just comes in there and gets the backstab.
I love that straight forth Lings, just like, I got this guy. Go to the mineral line. Yeah.
So 4 Lings go down for 1 Marine, which actually is not cost efficient. It's not a big deal, but it's just worth pointing out. So, as this game develops, I'm just waiting for the signal. Is it going to be more barracks or is it going to be more factories? Because Gumiho's capable of doing both. And it is going to be a cloaked Banshee.
Oh.
Now, so he can't possibly lose the same way he did before. When you see those Roach, Ravager, Ling attacks, if you have like 1 Banshee, over time you will clean it up. But I don't think Game 1 is going to be recreated in any sense here.
And yeah, Stim starts Tasteless, so it's just going to be a Hellion Banshee opening in a Bio.
And so that might be the last of that build order that we're going to see here in this round of the tournament. The mech build from Game 1 is what I meant. The Hellions are going to be driven back out, and soO's playing a very good game. The Evo chamber wall was pretty solid. He swatted away that Marine Cyclone drop that came in a little bit earlier. And we're just going to see how things develop along now.
Man, look at this. It's a really fast Spire for soO. Do that down in about 5 minutes. The Banshee's coming into the third. 6 mutas, about 3/4 of the way done. How many drones is Gumiho actually going to be able to get? Because with mutas out, it's going to be hard to keep both of these alive. I love how they just kind of split.
Yeah, just, all right, you go this way, I'll go this way, and let's see which one of us gets killed. Well, you know, double Banshee cloak is pretty expensive, so whenever you do something like this, you really do need to kill a lot of drones to get, you know, to extract value from it. So the fact that the mutas hatch immediately, it's not going to make that anywhere near as strong, but at the same time, the Banshees inadvertently scouted the mutas coming out, so maybe Gumiho will be able to defend a little bit more easily in that sense.
Yeah, soO actually able to find some good SCV damage early on with this, and with the Queen able to dispatch that Banshee in the main base. The one here at the third looks like it's just going to try and get a couple more kills before retreating to safety, but you got to think those mutas are eventually going to clean it up. And all things considered, some workers going down on both sides, and man, Cyclones are, there's so much damage to mutas.
Yeah, they're clearly still quite good against big groups of mutas. Notice again, he kind of led with that Cyclone, but here comes the real bread and butter Terran army.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a window here for Gumiho to really get some damage done.
We do know that a lot of Zergs, you know, if they survive and keep their fourth base alive and get a fifth, then we're going to be in for a long game. But many games end where you just push the fourth and, you know, the game wraps itself up.
There's only one siege tank with this push, but Gumiho already has 1/1 infantry, weapons, and armor. soO is still about halfway done on those upgrades, so it's going to be a large window where Gumiho has the upgrade advantage now. Baneling's coming in. We'll see how good the focus firing is from Gumiho, but no, soO just going to back off for now, try to pick off these Hellbats to the front with the Mutalisks.
His control is so good. He has everything spread out perfectly, and then he has this little attack squad out here in the front that can attack and do damage. And the moment that things get dicey, he just picks up in the medevacs. This hatchery's at like 1/4 health right now. I think this thing's going to go down.
These 1/1 Marines are just doing work. You can see soO is trying to wait, bide his time for a Carapace and melee attack to finish, as they're just now operational. That's going to be the cue, at least for a moment it was, to come in. But by now, the creep has dissipated outside of this base, and so it's going to be hard for soO to break this position. Muta's going to come in, immediately focus down that siege tank. Baneling's rolling it off creep, looking for the big connections there. On the Marines, so far not a bad engagement for soO, but there's so many reinforcements coming in for Gumiho that the Baneling count being as low as it is, there's a big window for Gumiho to get more damage.
Yeah, I mean, Gumiho's going to go for the jugular right now. He is just in the middle of it, and yeah, that's a really good play. He forces those Banelings to cancel. The hatchery's going to go down. This game might just be over. I don't think there's anything to actually stop the onslaught of Marines that are going to move through here now. In fact, he's going to be able to kill the Baneling's nest, and that's basically a death sentence here for the Zerg.
Yeah, soO just with no Banelings left. I mean, these Marines can be freely to stim all the way down to 20% HP and trade out quite effectively. 20 workers going down. Some of the Mutalisks even getting traded out there, and while it's not quite a killing blow, soO is now 10 workers behind a Terran that is getting ready to secure a fourth base.
And so it looks like this push is going to come out once more. The Muta's going to try to buy a little bit of time, killing off some of these SCVs and turrets.
Yeah, these Mutas have gotten so much value on the other side of the map, just really holding Gumiho back, even messing with his infrastructure quite a bit. And that means that soO's had enough time to reassemble this army of Lings and Banelings with pure Marines like this. I don't think Gumiho can actually push into that position. Yes, he can kind of posture outside and make sure that the creep spread is dismal for Sumiho, for soO in front of that line. Sumiho, my goodness.
This is his doppelganger.
But yeah, soO has done a great job of recovering from what was a really scary push, where, let's not forget, Gumiho was able to push into the natural expansion, take down 20 drones, kill the fourth base, trade out cost efficiently. And soO is looking the best that he has looked in a very long time right now against one of the top Terran players in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Gumiho's been around forever, but it is very fair to say he's easily one of the best players in the GSL right now. So the fact that soO is playing as well as he is, that's very cool to see. That shows a lot of promise, not just for, you know, the rest of this game that we're casting right now, but also, his chances in this group and in the future of GSL.
22 meters on the map as soO is starting to really push the creep forward in the center of the map, but I am so concerned, Tasteless, about the lack of creep across all these bases on the sides. I feel like for soO, if he wants the next fight, the max fight, to be very cost efficient, it's going to happen on creep. Hey, there isn't very much creep to be found besides that center of the map, but Gumiho's just been doing such a good job of aggressing on the sides, and I mean the lack of map vision is really apparent here for soO. Is Gumiho able to run in, take a fantastic angle here at this base, kill 5 drones, lift up into the main, and that's going to set up for him to posture outside of that triangle third now, and again, no creep. Beyond this position, only 1 tumor in front of that hatchery, and so Gumiho with a really nice defensive setup, even without siege tanks. The Widow Mines can kind of fulfill that splash damage role here, as well as the Thors. It's going to be a tough engage for soO, but here he comes in, trying to find the angle. A lot of Banelings, but Gumiho off creep. He's able to take a pretty good engage, and yes, soO was able to wipe the floor with the front of that army, but really there's a lot of Marines still standing.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I think he could have done better with that first engage, but here we are. The infantry, oh my God, we just now caught the tail end of that. That base falls. I had no clue that was actually happening. And so it's going to be about trying to keep this next base alive here.
0 Banelings on the field right now for soO. He is scrambling to try to make 11 more. Gumiho is parade pushing across, even drops the mule, I think, by
haven't seen
accident.
that in a while.
Yeah, I think he might have wanted
to. Intentional.
Was it?
That we'll just decide it is. It's more drama that way. The Banes are going to come up again, but these Widow Mines are just obliterating that. There might still be enough mutas to take the fight. Well, maybe not after that mine hit.
Those mine hits were explosive. Drilling claws just paying dividends right now. As Gumiho is not lifting his foot off the gas pedal. We have even another hatchery going down. Only 3 Banelings on the field for soO, so he's going to have to re-engage here with low HP mutas, and I think we might be reaching a breaking point, Tasteless. soO, even if he's able to clean up these Marines, this is not the trade you want to take.
Yeah, that should be it. I think that soO is going to be knocked into the losers match. There it is, GG. Gumiho takes first best of 3. He's going to the